Do y'all remember the time I went on a first date wearing a full set of knight's armor and it didn't go so well? So my therapist recommended that I finally process that experience. Okay, so here's the video. It was a coffee date. I did wear a full set of knight's armor. At one point he explained that he had to go take a call and went to the bathroom. He never came back. What we're gonna do is turn that video into a song and then listen to it together.
I wore a full set of knight's armor. A feudal alliance was a total drama. Negotiating a treaty with the team.
This is the video that turned Sophie Silva's own fans against her. On the surface, it looks harmless, just a funny little story about a bad date. But there was one thing buried in that ad that her fans could not forgive. And when they tried to tell her about it, she didn't apologize, she didn't explain, she just turned her comments off. That one move blew the whole thing wide open. So let's get into what actually happened. If you don't know Sophie Silva, here's the quick version. She's a fashion influencer who blew up around 2024 into 2025, and the thing that really put her on the map was her 30-day Halloween costume series. She'd dress up as different characters, and the outfits were genuinely creative. Stuff like Dracula from Monster High, and people ate it up. Those costumes went viral over and over, and from that point on, that became her whole identity online. The quirky, nerdy fashion girl who makes fun, creative content. She's now one of the biggest fashion influencers out there, with a massive and, importantly, a very loyal fan base. And that loyalty is the key to this whole story, because the people who ended up turning on her weren't random haters. They were her own longtime fans. Now, Sophie is a big creator, so brand deals are nothing new for her. Brands are lining up to work with someone her size, and she's done plenty of sponsorships before. That part isn't unusual at all. But the one she posted on June 28th, 2026 was different, because this one didn't just annoy people. It went against everything her audience thought she stood for. The sponsorship was for a YouTube feature called Speech to Song. The idea is simple. You tell an AI a little story and it spits out a song for you. And when Sophie first posted the ad, her fans were actually hyping her up, laughing along, because the knight's armor bad date story was the kind of quirky humor they loved from her. But within a couple hours, the mood completely flipped, because people realized what they were actually looking at. This was an AI product, and Sophie was pretty much the last person anyone expected to promote AI. There are a few big reasons why this hit so hard. First, Sophie had been openly against AI. A few months earlier, someone made AI fan art of her, and she spoke out about it and made it clear she wasn't comfortable with people using AI to make art of her. So to then turn around and promote an AI tool herself came off as flat out hypocritical. Second, this specific tool generates songs. And here's the thing, Sophie's boyfriend, Hayden, is a musician. So her fans were stunned that she'd promote something that basically shortcuts the entire process of writing and producing music when she's dating someone who does exactly that for a living. And third, Sophie herself is a creative. She's in the creative space. Her fans know how much time and effort goes into making original content. So watching her promote a tool that lets people skip all of that felt like a betrayal of the exact thing that made her likable. The whole ad just came across as fake. Even her reaction to the AI song felt staged. Like there's no way anyone hears a song that bad and reacts with real excitement. So her fans did what fans do. They tried to tell her. They filled the comments explaining why this didn't sit right with them, hoping she'd take accountability and just say, yeah, that ad wasn't a good fit for me. And that's usually all these situations need. But instead of responding, Sophie turned the comment section off completely. And that decision is what took this from a small controversy to a full-blown one. Because turning the comments off didn't make it look like she missed the criticism. It made it look like she saw all of it and chose to shut it down rather than face it. And that's exactly what broke the trust. A lot of people genuinely believed Sophie was different from other influencers. More authentic, more real. But the moment she silenced her own fans instead of hearing them out, she looked like every other creator who gets called out and just hides from it. Now, to be fair, there's a real chance her hands were partly tied here. These brand deals almost always come with contracts, and the bigger the deal, the stickier the terms. Sometimes a contract says you can't take the video down at all until the company says so. Sometimes it says you can't even explain why you took the sponsorship unless the whole deal gets cancelled first. And sometimes the only way out is to refund every penny they paid you and cover extra fees on top of that. So it's genuinely possible she was stuck and that turning the comments off was even suggested by the company as damage control. We don't know the exact terms she signed, but here's the thing, and even if all of that is true, she still had a choice in how she handled it. Turning the comments off entirely, saying nothing, and just carrying on like normal, that was the part people couldn't forgive. Because it didn't read as someone trapped by a contract. It read as someone who didn't want to face what she had done. Just to show you the scale of it, the very next video she posted after the ad racked up 22,000 comments, and almost all the top ones were people calling her out. That is an insane like-to-comment ratio, the kind you only see when a creator has seriously stepped in it. And when people couldn't comment on the ad itself, they didn't just give up. They moved over to her community tab and kept going there instead, filling it with post after post asking her to just address it. There were so many of them that reading through every single one would take an hour. The point is, this wasn't a handful of angry people. This was her core audience, everywhere they could reach her, all saying the same thing. And here's what made this different from normal hate. When you actually looked at who was calling her out, it wasn't trolls. It was her real fans. People who'd been following her for months, even years. People who'd left supportive comments on her old videos. Those were the ones speaking up. And that's the tell. When your longtime supporters start calling you out, it's not because they suddenly hate you. It's because they like you enough to want you to do better. They weren't trying to cancel her. They just wanted her to come online and admit the ad didn't align with her brand. That's it. You could see the specific frustrations too. One fan pointed out that the AI angle would kill her whole vibe. Sophie's niche is being quirky, nerdy, and relatable. Doing ads for AI will kill that vibe real quick. Others brought up a bigger pattern that a lot of her content leans into buying more and more clothes. I like her, but I think she promotes a lot of overconsumption. She has hordes of clothes and accessories that are difficult to reuse, and every other video she keeps buying more. Her audience is young and may not know better. And a lot of people connected it straight back to the AI fan art situation. And there was one more angle that really got under people's skin. A lot of Sophie's content leans into this relatable, down-to-earth, one-of-us kind of energy. But then fans pointed out she was taking an AI ad while also casually buying things like a $400 sweatshirt. So to them, it felt like she was acting like a regular struggling creator on camera, while quietly cashing brand deals that go against her values to fund a pretty expensive lifestyle. Whether that's fair or not, you can see why it added fuel. It made the whole thing feel less like an honest mistake and more like a pattern of saying one thing and doing another. Now, to really understand why the music angle hit a nerve, you have to look at Sophie's boyfriend, Hayden. They've been dating around a year, and he's a musician. And the way their relationship played out online is a big part of why people were already a little skeptical of her before the AI ad even dropped. For a while, Sophie kept him hidden. She hinted she had a boyfriend, but wouldn't show his face, building up this whole mystery around him. Then she slowly started revealing more, posting about the long distance, posting about finally getting to see him, and she leaned hard into this former fangirl turned rockstar girlfriend storyline, like she'd manifested dating a musician. On its own, that's harmless. But it set the stage for what came next, which is where things started feeling staged. Because leading up to the AI drama, Hayden pulled a move straight out of the influencer playbook. He posted a video saying he'd blocked Sophie for a week to surprise her with a song he wrote for her. Which, come on, no boyfriend is actually blocking his girlfriend for a full week. It was obviously staged for content, the exact kind of fake surprise setup influencers do all the time, and then Sophie made her own video reacting to it.
So last week my boyfriend blocked me on all social media platforms and I'm like kind of freaking out about it, so I think you and I need to have a chat. Okay, so clearly he took a page out of the Sophie Silva book because he's hiding something, and apparently that something is a song for me. He wrote a song for me. I cannot believe.
And then came the song itself. People genuinely could not believe those were the lyrics. The comments tore into it. One person said it was their worst fear and it got 30,000 likes. Another said they'd get the ick so bad. Someone said, "Girl, are you okay?" And a lot of people pointed at Sophie's reaction in the video and said it looked completely fake, like she'd either heard it before or couldn't figure out how to react to something that bad. Which fed right back into the same criticism from the AI ad that her reactions were starting to feel performed rather than real. And it wasn't just the AI ad and the boyfriend stuff. Around the same time, Sophie caught heat for her Coachella series too. Some people compared it to the Hailey Bailey let them eat cake situation, saying it came off as tone-deaf and insensitive. A lot of that criticism tied back into the overconsumption angle, because Sophie really does go all out with her outfits, tons of unique pieces, constant new holes, and to a young audience that can't afford any of that, some people felt it sent the wrong message. Now, in fairness, she's far from the only creator who does this, and singling her out alone for something the entire fashion space does is a bit unfair. But it added another layer to the pile of frustration building against her. And this is where you started seeing something new for Sophie. She'd always had this squeaky clean reputation, basically no hate, everyone loved her. But suddenly the ads were stacking up too. People noticed she'd been posting a lot of sponsorships, and even on her TikTok ads that clearly said paid partnership, the top comments were fans going, "Sophie, why are you doing so many ads?" When you push ads too hard, even a loyal audience starts to feel it. As all of this built up, other creators started making videos about it, and one response in particular summed up exactly what her fans were feeling. It came from a creator named Lacey Brands who laid it out really clearly.
Hate for this, but I don't like Sophie Silva anymore. Wait, just hear me out please. I still believe she is funny and relatable, but what she has been doing recently, which was making an ad sponsoring AI, kinda just made me lose interest.
And a lot of people who had watched enough of these situations were already predicting how it would end. The take was basically this, that if Sophie just kept ignoring it, the backlash would eventually fade, because people always move on to the next thing. And honestly, that's true. Staying silent is annoyingly effective, because if she addresses it, her entire audience finds out. If she ignores it, only a small slice of them ever knows there was a problem at all. That's the cold logic a lot of influencers have figured out. Address controversies less and less, because silence usually costs you less than a bad apology does. So the big question everyone was watching for was simple: would Sophie ride it out in silence, or would she actually break and say something? Then, finally, Sophie responded. She took the original ad down and posted a full apology on her community tab, and it was actually a solid apology. Sophie Silva, 7 days ago. Hi guys. The video has been taken down. I definitely owe you guys an explanation, and I'm going to be as honest and straightforward as possible. Last week I posted a sponsored video with YouTube promoting their new speech to song feature. After reading through your comments and taking a step back from the situation, I can confidently say this is a partnership I should not have accepted. And for that, I am genuinely sorry. I completely understand why so many of you are disappointed. Many of you raised valid concerns about Gen AI and the impact it can have on creatives and the world as a whole. I should have considered those concerns much more carefully before agreeing to promote this feature, and I've been kicking myself all week for not doing. So there really isn't some huge explanation or excuse here. I made a bad decision. I take full responsibility for it, and I'm sorry that I let you guys down. I hear your criticism. I'm taking it seriously, and I can assure you it won't happen again. On a more positive note, I also want to say how grateful I am for the community we've built here. This page has always been about creativity, self-expression, humor, and supporting one another, and I never want to lose sight of that. Y'all are also insane in the best way. And I absolutely admire how passionate y'all are about speaking up for the things you care about. I hope we can keep moving forward together and keep this little corner of the internet the positive, creative, and slightly chaotic place it has always been. More fun stuff to come this week. But a lot of people still weren't satisfied, and their reasoning was pretty simple. They saw it as her signing the contract, doing the ad, making the money, and only apologizing once she realized how badly it was landing. In other words, the apology only came because of the backlash, not because she actually felt bad. And there was another detail that made people skeptical. This wasn't even the first time Sophie had done a YouTube AI sponsorship. She had done one a few months earlier, and back then there wasn't nearly as much outrage, so she was able to just move past it quietly. So some people figured she assumed she could get away with it a second time, since the first one barely made waves. Then there were the fans defending her by saying she probably needed the money and couldn't afford to refund it. And that's where it gets a little hard to believe. Because think about what that argument is actually saying, that an influencer this big is so broke she can't give back the money from one sponsorship. From what her own content shows, Sophie appears to have 2 apartments, one in LA and one in New York, 2 of the most expensive cities in the entire country. Paying rent on both of those at once is not something a broke person does. On top of that, out of her 10 most recent TikToks, 4 of them were ads. That's 40% of her recent content. And influencers at her level get paid serious money for a single brand deal, way more than most people realize. So the idea that she couldn't afford to refund one ad just doesn't hold up. To be clear, none of that erases her apology. She did own it twice, and she didn't try to dodge the blame. This is more about her fans bending over backwards to invent excuses for something she herself already admitted was a straight-up mistake. She didn't need them to defend her. She needed them to hear that she got it, which she said she did. So here's where it lands. Sophie messed up, she knows she messed up, and she said so. The real lesson underneath all of this is about what people are actually mad about when it comes to AI. Because most of us use some form of AI every single day. The search overviews, the assistant on your phone, all of it. That's not what set people off. Well, what people are upset about is generative AI, the kind that makes songs, art, and writing, because that's the stuff that takes directly from real creatives who spend years learning their craft. And Sophie, being a creative herself, dating a musician on top of that, promoting exactly that kind of tool, is why it felt like such a slap in the face. The honest takeaway here is pretty simple. When you build your whole brand on being authentic and standing for something, your audience holds you to it. And the second you go against that for a paycheck, they notice. Sophie will probably be fine in the long run, her audience is huge, and most people move on. But this was the first real crack in a reputation that used to be spotless. And whether she learns from it or not is what's going to decide how her fans see her going forward. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.